Welcome to Blooming Lately. My core audience, I call them the Bloomies. And this is Jasmine of the Black Girl Speak Up podcast. Tell the Bloomies a little bit about yourself.
I will. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. Let's see. I am a photographer by trade. I've been doing that for about 15 years, which is crazy. I have a little girl. I started the Black Girl Speak Up podcast. It's changed its branding, changed its name, but essentially I started the podcast a couple years ago out of a necessity for a conversation around mental health and like the grieving process that I was going through at the time, which I'm still kind of like working through it. But combining my wanting to have conversations about mental health and also faith, because I feel like a lot of people in faith-based spaces, church, religion, they tend to feel like, as a majority, not all, but a majority, that we need to just pray it away. And I don't believe that you just pray it away. Yes, you need to pray, but also you need to go sit on somebody's couch and talk to a therapist. Like, I feel like those things need to intersect more than what they do, especially in the Black spaces. We need to have more spaces for us to, one, talk openly about like our beliefs. Like, you believe in God, yes, but I also believe in talking to a therapist. So I want to be able to have conversations with people like that intersect those two things. So that is why I started this podcast on Black Girl Speak Up, so that we can have those very open, honest conversations about our mental health, essentially at the base. Yeah.
Absolutely. And your episodes are fire and they prompt a lot of really good journal entries.
Oh, thank you.
Honey, it got the wheels turned. I was like, shout out to my therapist because I'm going to talk to her about these things, honey.
Girl, listen.
I love that intersectionality because, again, we were in a lot of ways raised to keep them very parallel from each other. But then a lot of people will unintentionally go to their pastor or whoever their worship leader is to essentially have counseling. But
Yes.
it's just never would label it in that way.
Yes.
You're ultimately like seeking guidance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And why not? And I feel like sometimes some pastors, if you go to them for like mental health counseling, essentially, they're still not going to guide you in a
Mm-mm.
mental health way. They're going to say, well, God said X, Y,
Mhm.
and Z. And it's like, okay, I understand that. But if I'm dealing with ADHD over here, like I need something that is going to help me navigate that space. If I'm dealing with grief, I understand there are applications in the Bible that say how we should handle grief. Absolutely. But also, what can I use to process this? Like, I
Mhm.
just feel like there definitely needs to be an intersection of the two. So I'm so glad that you like it.
Oh, I love it. I definitely feel like it shouldn't be used as a replacement, but it should be in addition to.
Yes.
Because a pastor or whoever, they will prescribe you a scripture, and
Yes.
that's nice and
Yes.
helpful. But I need something in addition to that. I need additional support. I need break this scripture down for me in a way that I can receive it in this moment or in my ways of processing it. We had a lovely chat right before we hit record.
Yes.
Because the topic of grief is something that we can't escape, unfortunately, as much as we'd love to. I hold on to my rose-colored shades for as long as I can. Uh, everything's all nice and la 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 until reality kicks in. Um, but it caused me to really think about how, in some areas, being a late bloomer kind of helped shielded you from that, or grief actually forced you into being a late bloomer. So when I
Absolutely.
mentioned like feeling like I was born into grief, because of my grandmother passing at such a young age and seeing how that's impacted my core family for so long and still does to this day, I can see the areas where certain growth and development has been delayed and
Absolutely.
where that label of being a late bloomer would kick in. So I wanted to see, like, for you, have you experienced being a late bloomer, or have you ever identified yourself in that way or in just certain areas of your life?
Can see where I did not necessarily label it as that, but I realized that I halted certain things in my life because I was still dealing with grief. I was trying to work my way through certain things. For example, let me see, this was 2022. Coming into 2023, I completely stopped my photography business.
Mhm.
I like put it completely on hold. I was just like, I can't show up as a business owner. I can't show up and try to hustle for more business. I can't do any of that because I've already lost two siblings at this point, and then I lost another sibling. I was like, I don't have the mental capacity to really do anything when it comes to my business. And now we're in 2025, I see how much that has set me back for my business because I wasn't you lose like a year as a business owner, you have to restart.
Oh,
You have to
absolutely.
completely reset. And I thought I was like, man, I could have been so much further along in this process, or I should have all these clients. I had a ton of clients back then, but I literally told all of them like find somebody else. And then fast forward 2 years later, they found somebody and that's who they're still working with that person, and I can't fault them for having their new person and sticking with them, you know. Regardless of how much you can try to reintegrate yourself into that business again, it's still going to be hard to get the attention of those clients again. So I've definitely seen, and that's just in that aspect alone.
Mhm.
Um, Other than that, I can see grieving a relationship. I was with my ex husband. We were only married like 2 years, but prior to that, we were together for a total of 10 years. So I getting back into a dating space, I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like but it's like you grieve the thought of what you were going to do and you feel so set back. Now I'm trying to restart my life and like find a new sense of like this is the new family. Like it's just me and my daughter now. That in itself is like there are people together for all these years and they still together, they have all these kids, and you kind of see like, have I been set back? I'm like,
Yeah.
am I blooming again now? I'm like, what's happening? So yes, yes.
No, yeah, it causes you to think about all of these questions and identify, like, certain parts of your life and say, like, "Am I late or do I even have an interest in this? Do I care?"
Yeah,
Really, like, people don't have that conversation or nor did we feel, like, allowed to be because people are so quick to label things, child. They just need to categorize you and put you in a
everything.
we can't figure you out. You're a late bloomer. That's the only excuse that we can give as to why you maybe didn't seek to find a relationship out of high school and do that, or why you couldn't pick a career, why you could never really finish college, or um, in terms of your social skills, and just so many different things. And people just didn't get the space to evaluate whether do I care to have a high school sweetheart? Like, that sounds cute,
It sounds cute, but
or
no,
go to college to find a partner, because a lot of people, with the old archaic way of thinking, it was just like, you go to school to find a partner.
it's
And
like
it's like,
absolutely
but
not
I just wanted to go to class and have fun picking electives. I just like the
that.
campus activities. I I liked only showing up Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesday, Thursday. Like, why does it have to be this whole thing? But then being shamed for you not choosing or not having certain things. And I realized, even within like my friend group, a lot of that shaming was more of it was clearly projections of misery needing company,
Mm-hmm.
because the woes that people were going through with their partners, honey, and because you were not actively dating, at least for me, I'll speak from my experience, um, or dating in the way that they deemed it to be acceptable, it was just like, well, something's wrong with you. And it's like, don't project your toxicity to me.
Please.
Because I'm one of those that I learned from other people's experiences. I don't like to be embarrassed. Don't have me out here looking crazy. I don't feel like I need to also do what you did
Mm-mm.
to be like, "Oh, well, I got that badge of trauma." Like, I'm not
I don't need it. I really don't
that
need
doesn't interest me.
it.
That does not interest me.
I agree, and I've seen so many different, especially on social media now, because people put everything on social media.
Mhm.
You see the relationships where people are really struggling in their relationships, but they're only gonna paint the pretty picture until finally everything blows up, and you're like, "Whoa, y'all
Mhm.
was going through it, but you was mad at me because I'm over here just living my single life." I No, I would rather once that relationship ended, I've pretty much been single since then. I've tried talking, no, because I
There
have the
is there is pee in the dating pool.
it's more than pee.
There's
It I
caca in the dating pool.
It really is, and I wish I could say that I have seen, good examples, but right now, what I have seen is it's not it. So, I would rather just be single and have a certain level of peace in my space, especially for my child. I don't no. No, 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 no. So, when people start projecting that foolishness like, "Well, why aren't you?" and who First of all, is your relationship well? Are y'all well to give any advice, to ask me any questions, to be concerned about what I got going on before, like, make sure your
Mm-mm.
house is firm on a firm foundation before you asking me questions.
Again, that's that misery needs company. And because and I don't like this discourse that they have online. I'm mostly on Twitter where like, oh, single people shouldn't be giving married people advice. Honestly, I feel like you should be tapping into your single friends because we identify a lot of things from just from the outside looking in,
Yeah.
one. And two, we could probably give you more insight as to why we've made the choice to be single because of some of the things you are experiencing. But nobody wants to have those kinds of conversations.
Listen, did you see what's that podcast? That man's podcast. Most of the time it irks me with the
Is it
guests.
like
Yeah,
that?
no,
Girl,
no, is it Dear Future Wifey? The
or
one,
my future wife or something?
I it's the man,
Something like that.
he had the couple on there, it was a pastor and a pastor's wife,
Yes, I think it's dear my future wife or something like my future
something
husband, something like that.
something to
Yes.
that effect.
And she kept talking about all the like she was helping him get ready for his side chick.
And then had the audacity, she had the peak audacity to say that, well, that's why you're single.
I'll take
Because
single all
I
day.
take single every day. Then to do something like that, to allow myself to knowingly be helping this man cheat on me and then turn around and say that that's God's will, baby, no. Baby, no.
I
That ain't
hate
it.
I hate when people misuse the word of God. That's not what God. Y'all be putting a lot of blame on God, and I'm sure God is just like, now how I get in
How
it,
I listen,
how
I didn't say
sway,
that.
how sway, because that wasn't the message I gave to whoever to write in the book. You picking up something else. That's not one of my books.
I'm pretty sure that I did not use that wording to mean that. People have vast interpretations of what the word says and means.
Listen,
Okay.
people are very creative in what they choose to pick up and disseminate. That's all I will say. But
Yes.
I would not get on camera to be so proud with my husband to say that I ironed his shirts to make sure he looked good for his next chick. Now, baby,
Not a chance.
if that is love, if that is marriage, if that
I
is
don't want
commitment,
it.
baby, I don't want it. Y'all
I
can
don't want
have it.
I don't
I
want
have me a good old time right here. Okay,
because that's actually insane.
that's wild.
It's wild. As much as I am now about to be 36, starting over, like we divorced finalized in 2022. Starting over was a process.
Hmm.
However, the level of peace that I've gained in this process far outweighs anything that I was in. So the idea of then turning around and getting with somebody that is going to treat me, if not the same, maybe worse, then absolutely not. Absolutely not. Mm-mm.
And being that you were in that relationship for 10 years, there's a lot that I'm sure of yourself that you either push, like delayed in order to make space for this other person or to assume other responsibilities or in in other avenues you've kind of like evolved or maybe that growth came delayed like after leaving that relationship. So what was
Okay.
that experience like for you?
I will start by saying I had just finished my degree in photography. And for me as a person, I think I was still like doing a lot of things, trying to like photography. I started doing that. I was a sub for a few years. Career wise, I was still very much, I'm going to get this stuff done. However, I was shortly after we started talking in the first beginning, I was like 21. He found out that his ex-girlfriend was pregnant. So I became like stepmom at 21 years old.
Oh, pregnant with his baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
take sip.
Let me just this coffee is tasty.
Ah, okay.
So that was just a couple months into us even like just meeting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just," I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Damn, you were Issa and Lawrence when Condola got pregnant. Except y'all didn't have the history
We
beforehand.
didn't have the history before. Mm-mm.
Dang. So you was holding it down while he was taking care of Condoleezza's kid.
Yeah. So it
Dang,
was,
Jasmine.
listen, it was,
Sorry, I
yeah,
didn't mean to traumatize you. Girl.
yeah. Take me
Ooh,
back.
you had a flashback.
I had
Come
a
back, come
flashback.
back, come back, come
It was
back,
a
come
lot
back.
because I realized, and you think about like delay of things. That little boy, as he got older, nobody would have ever known that that was not my child. That's
Oh
how
wow.
often I had that child. He was always with me when it was the weekend time for my ex to have his son. Who had his son?
Oh, the flag was there, sis.
Oh, it was there. It was there. That's why I'm like, now, oh baby, waving flags for friends. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You're using a fire torch at this point
Oh,
because the red flag ain't just enough.
listen.
You need bigger power, okay?
Listen, don't do it. Like,
Wow.
no.
But what made you stay, if you don't mind sharing? Like, was it because you got attached to this little boy, or like what was it about that
Um,
situation? Because you're again like personal development, like you were still in school, you were still exploring your own interests, getting to learn and know yourself as a person and develop your individuality, and then boom, responsible. It's like an instant family.
it's instant family. I when I think back, girl, now I'm like, what did you
Was he fine? Was it that? It's okay, girl. Was he fine? You probably don't have those feelings now today, but thinking back. Because you're 21. All of
you
this up
know,
front is cotton candy. We're going
it
for
was cotton
superficial.
candy. It was
Was he
very
tall?
no.
Oh,
I don't that's why I'm like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I don't know.
okay. All
I
right.
don't like that's I'm being so real because when I look back,
Yeah.
I be like, girl, what? Maybe it was he was ex-military. Now he's ex-military, but he was in the military at the time,
Oh,
and I was
built
just like,
muscles.
but he was a short, like built muscles, and like
Mm.
I was just like, oh, like you're nice. The energy, the vibe was cool, like at the time.
Okay.
So I was just like, cool, 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 like, yay! And then a little boy, and I was like, he's adorable. To this
Ah.
day, that little boy, love down.
Did
Like
you
a
have much of a dating experience before then? Like, did you date in high school or
not really.
so do you think like would you thinking back consider yourself a late bloomer in dating?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Was
wasn't because I was in church when I all through and
ah
that's my late bloomer part because,
okay.
that's part of it is I in high school, I was in church. Like, when I say in church, I was working I went to school, went to work, went to church. That was the extent
That
of
was
my
your life.
that was my life. And so, I wasn't and also my mama would've she would've ranked
Mm.
me up. I think I had in my sophomore year I my best friend, she's 2 years older than me, so that was her senior year, so I went to her prom, I went to her homecoming, I did stuff like that, and we had dates, but it wasn't like I wasn't dating them, like, I didn't have a boyfriend.
You were just meeting up by the lockers for a musty hug. It's
Ye
okay.
and the boys
We
aggravated the
we
crap
all
out of me in high
suffered.
school. We all suffered. High
Oh.
school, when I tell you they bothered me, and I was the type, if they were any level of inappropriate, like touching your butt or grabbing you, when I
Mm.
tell you I used to slap the mess out, like that was me.
Well, because you were the baby, right?
Yeah,
Out of 6?
out of 6. Mhm.
So you knew how to scrap.
If I yeah. Oh, and them boys, they listen, they were getting slapped across their face. Them
And I'm
teachers,
sure in a weird way they were like, "Oh, this we like Jasmine."
yeah, they ain't had no like
Because
Jesus,
of that. Because
they
you were
ain't had no problems with
slapboxing.
me. They
Yeah,
ain't had no
you
problems
were
with
the
me.
homegirl. You were the cool one.
Yes. Yes. So it wasn't like I was the girl that people were really, really they may have liked me, but they weren't like trying to date me for real.
Well,
Cause
because you
I
you was gonna slap him upside the head, Jasmine.
precisely. 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 So they weren't messing with me. They weren't like, "Oh no, she gonna slap fire." And when I tell you, in
Ooh.
front of the class, I didn't care. My
Oh.
hallway, you mess with me, you're getting
Wow, so the spirit of "Nuck if you buck" has been heavily
heavily,
in you, just
heavily.
ingrained in
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh yeah. So I can't tell you like I was dating a lot. Like I did not have a huge dating experience. Had I dated somebody prior to him, like one or two people, yes, but
Okay.
that ended. I was very much in my like, I'm out here just living my
Yeah.
life. Like I'm literally living my life. I went to school in Miami, Fort
Okay.
Lauderdale area. So down there, party scene, like
Oh,
all of
yeah. Yeah, we're
I was
outside.
I was outside. Like I was outside. I
And this
really
was your first time, because growing up, like, in the church and things and having a mama that didn't play that. So now this is your taste of freedom, because this been your first time away from home, right?
oh yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
college? Girl,
Yeah.
you was just out
I was
here.
good. I was so good. I wasn't looking for a relationship. Did I have people interested in me at that time? Yes, but I was not looking for any kind of relationship at all. And so it was like, "Oh, well, I guess that's like we can try to get to know each other." And he was cool. He was charming, very charming in the initial stages. I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Rose-colored glasses, babes. Rose-colored glasses. But as the years started to wear on of us dating, I started to see more of, yeah, this person is not for you per se.
Mm,
Um, like there were, and again, hindsight 2020, right?
absolutely.
There was things of like, in a relationship where my battery died somewhere and I needed a jump and he was off from work and he did not come help me. I had to get somebody else to help me. It was like that.
Hmm,
Hmm. Or
okay.
for instance, like I usually have my hair, at the time I would have my hair cut. He's a barber essentially, he has a whole kit and the cake, the things, all the, and I'd be like, "Oh, can you cut my hair?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Mm,
And then it's like days have passed and then I have to ask him again. And it's like, I can easily go to the barber shop and get it done and pay the money, but you said you would cut my hair. So that it was starting to be like a moments where I'm like, you say you're gonna do this and that, you say you're
yeah.
gonna show up and you're not. And it's like, even with my car, "Oh, I'll do your oil changes." Okay, cool. When
Yeah, so just all of the opportunities that you provided or that came available for him to show up for you, he didn't. And then that
yes,
also is connected to just you not feeling safe or secure
absolutely.
and can't
Absolutely.
feel like you can trust this person because you don't honor your word, one, and two, us being together is not enough for you to even try.
Yeah, and mind you, this whole time, he at the point where he started working on the weekends or he would be at deployment on the weekends or whatever, I was still watching his son.
Oh, girl, you were doing a lot.
I was doing a lot. One of my friends, she commented, she said something, this was not too long ago. She was like, "Girl, you was a mama for real."
You were.
Like I was like, "You're so right." His son is now about to be 15 this month.
Wow.
So them first like
You've been there his whole life.
yeah, that first 10 years I was in the house with him.
What got you, like, what kept you invested or like softened your heart to this situation?
Girl, listen, when I tell you I look back, I'm like, "Girl, why did you stay so long?"
'Cause 10 years and then you were married for 2 out of the 10.
Yes,
Girl, you really
I
stayed.
did. I did. A year
And you
it
didn't
was
have your daughter until when in the relationship?
right after we got married. I got pregnant on our honeymoon. So it was like right after we got married.
So it's
So
not
yeah,
even to say like, "Oh, I've always been like
no.
wanting to be a mom, so then Imma have my kids first." Like, you didn't even stay because
No.
you had a kid. It was just
No.
you were there for his kid. That's wow.
Yes, and then it got after my literally it was 2017 when I was like, I'm about to be out of here." That was
Yeah.
my sister passed December in 2017, and I woke up to the reality of how he handled my grief, and
Mm.
that's what flipped the whole switch for me to like
Yeah.
my eyes were
Open.
completely open. Like had I recognized like flags before that, yes, absolutely. But at that point, it was okay.
Because
He
that's one of those life-changing moments where a tragedy happens and
Mhm.
who shows up for you. Because again, you really don't know someone, especially in a romantic relationship, until you see them through different phases of life. And grief brings out a completely different side that
Yeah.
even they didn't know would be apparent or that would come out in you. And like who supports you during that time, who shows up for you,
Mhm.
really makes it apparent like who you have in your corner. Because a lot of people say things and think that they will show up, but not everyone has the capacity until things happen, and that's when they see, "Oh, snap.
Yeah.
I really don't know how to handle this," or "I don't care." Usually that's
Yeah.
the indicator. Because
Yes.
even if you don't know how, but if you care enough for that person, you'll figure out
You'll
how to
figure it out.
show up or
Absolutely.
follow their lead in how to support them during something like
Absolutely.
that. But to
And
not
that's
even do that,
girl, my brother passed, he was barely there. Then my sister passed, who he said he was so close to. He did not
oh
come to he did not come to her service. He did not do any of that. And he's like, "Oh, I don't do funerals." Who does funerals? Like, nobody wants to do funerals. Nobody
yeah.
wants to have to go to a funeral, but he didn't do funerals. However, a couple months later, one of his closest friends' sister passed and he went to her funeral. And that was the icing on the cake for me. That was the icing. And I was like,
Oh,
this
absolutely.
that was crazy. So that was like one of those like, Jasmine, this is, but I, at that point, I had already made up my mind. Like, I don't think this is gonna last this long. Like, we had been in therapy and I was like, I'm ready to call this quits. On top of the fact that if somebody, and this is one of those messages that I want like young women to hear, is like, if somebody says they won't or don't want to do something and they try to convince you to be okay with that narrative, you
Mm.
have to wake up for yourself, because for years of this relationship, he'll be like, he didn't want to get married. He didn't want to do that. And I was just like, well, you don't want to you've been saying this. And in one of our last therapy sessions before he did finally ask me to marry him, he was like, well, like, I didn't mean that. Like, I wasn't saying that for real. I was like, but you've been saying for years that you did not want to get married. So at this point, we've been doing this for like 8 years. Let's call this quits, because I don't see this progressing anywhere that's going to be healthy for either one of us. Let's call it quits. And then he was like, oh, well, I was like, you don't know what I was planning. Planning all of a sudden, now you was planning something. Like, you had so many opportunities if you really wanted to get married, but I feel like he finally asked me because he realized I was getting ready to leave.
Because you probably were his safe space. You made life so easy for him.
Girl,
Like, you took care of his kid, like,
listen, I
you
did.
ha do you think the religious aspect is what kept you like, you felt like you saw yourself getting married to this person, is why you held out for so long?
No,
Oh.
I held out for so long. I was really close with his parents, like his mom especially.
Mm,
And she was the type of that old school, which is a problem. I can feel. I can see now, of course. That old school mentality of like, it gets better with
mm.
time. And because I was so close with her, I thought, okay, like they've been together for how many ever years. Um and so it gets better. It's not always going to be like this. It's not always going to like have this type of feeling where I don't feel as seen, heard, and like felt. Um, it's going to
So
get
you
better.
so you stayed for the potential,
Yeah.
for what could be, or what is the expectation, like, "Oh, like wine, it just gets better with time," and
Yeah.
instead you got vinegar. But while that was happening and you assumed a lot of responsibilities during that time, what were some other areas in your life? Like, did you notice you like a regression
I,
in
d-
anything
I,
else?
I did. I like a lot of the a lot of my friends. Oh my gosh. I really was not spending time with my friends. And
Mm,
I I look back and I'm like, I will never allow myself to do that again. Um, I stopped hanging out with my friends. I stopped going out and doing all these like positive things. The only time I would really hang out with people is like, oh, we can grab a quick lunch during the day. like something during the middle of the workday where at night I'm always going to be home. On the weekends, I'm always going to be available. I'm not going to allow myself to like step outside of that. There will be times when it might be a like a trip I would go on, but it would be a trip that's like during certain time frame to where I'll be gone and I'll be back before this or before like I was.
Being very accommodating and working around
Yes.
other people's time instead of centering yours.
Yes. I seriously, other than the times when I would like work out, outside of that, I was not focusing on myself. I was focusing more on everybody else's wants, desires, and things that they needed to get done. And so the thought of like really like self-love did not come until the latter part of the relationship before I had my daughter, but it was like the latter part where I was really pouring back into myself more because I think I was starting to wake up to like this is not it. And also regress in my strong like nuck if you buck part of my personality regressed drastically
Mm,
because of dealing with him as a person. Like his personality, because he's military, you want it to be where this person is your safe space and you don't have to be as like, but
tough, yeah.
yeah, but it actually was like to my detriment that I wasn't so
Mm,
nuck if you buck. I wasn't so like, let's what are you saying? Like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I started to regress in that because also he was 7 years older than me. So I'm thinking I'm getting somebody that is mature,
mature.
that and that those be the listen, those be the ones.
In a
They
lot of ways, you were helping to raise him.
yeah,
I mean, no shade to his mama, and I know you value your relationship with her, but
girl, not
in a
anymore,
in
that
a
lady.
oh,
Whatever.
well, oh, okay. But in a lot of ways, you did help raise him because you took care of his responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you being that much younger, and we can talk about people being predators.
Another time.
That's
That's
a
a
different time.
mm-hmm.
But honestly, taking advantage of your youth and your naivete and inexperience, and so you're just like, oh, I'm going with the flow. I guess this is what dating is like, and you seem to be interested in me, and I guess this is cool. But and you not actively looking for a relationship, you were just at the height of your, I'm outside, I'm having a good time. Like you're cute and charming, I guess. Like you
We
just
can
kind of
go with the
felt,
flow. Yeah.
yeah, like you just kind of fell into it and didn't quite know how to navigate getting out
Yeah.
until really, I guess, your tethered self and your actual self linked up, and it was like, girl.
Wake up. Yes. I absolutely, and I like you said, we'll talk about the predatory
Yeah,
aspects of that at a later date, but like um I was so young and so I was just like this is great. Like this is cool. He's mature. Like he is very like let's do this and it seemed like it was working, but like you said, once your subconscious and your like once that comes back in alignment, you're like wake up.
how did we get here?
How did we get here? Your whole 20s gone, gone,
Mhm.
gone. You should have been outside living your life, living your best life, um, doing this, going, traveling, doing all these things. And I wasn't until I got into almost the latter half of my 20s when I was like, that's when I was like starting to wake up,
Mhm.
starting to be like, ma'am, this is not it. What are you doing? You literally have helped raise this man's child all up to this point. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Literally, what are you doing? So I saw so much of myself dwindling and regressing. And once I finally woke up, I was like, girl, we cannot. It's time. It's time to leave. That was 2020.
Yeah.
The world was shutting down and I was like, we can try to work on this or I'm not saying I'm staying. I'm
Yeah.
saying we're gonna go into therapy to try to see where things are misaligning and we can either stay or I will be leaving. And by the end of 2020, I was leaving.
That was the pressure cooker. Because if
Oh yeah,
anything, we just need to know how to co-parent. Because now we actually have a child.
because now we actually have a child. And I realized he only has the capacity without my assistance to be a weekend father.
Mm,
He did not like he in the process of me getting pregnant and us having conversations, I'm like, okay, now that this is a thing,
yeah.
understand that this child is like this is 24/7. This is not like just Friday to Monday. Like you have to be present all of the time. And he was not. So mentally, he was not. Physically, he was barely there. So it was like, what are we
Yeah.
doing? What are we doing? So
So
yeah.
now that you're on the other side of that and your subconscious and your instinct and who you are has finally reconnected.
Hmm.
In what ways are you showing up for yourself to make sure that we don't go back down that road again? Like, do you feel like you've kind of fast forwarded and now that you're here, the future, it's like, we went through what we went through, but we're even better this time around? Like, how are you fiercely showing up for yourself in this moving forward?
I want therapy, girl, therapy, so I can have not only like a mental health counselor that can be like, okay, let's continue to check in with ourselves, be present. That is
Mhm.
one of the biggest things that I've come to learn is being present in the now versus going back. I can't rewrite anything that happened. I can't change any of that. I have my child now and she's doing well. What helps me remember that and reminds me on the daily is looking at her because she there were parts of my reasoning for leaving. If I would have stayed, her mental would have been completely different than it is. And so I understand that I not only did she save me, I saved her.
Mm.
I had to get her out of that situation. So that in itself is a daily reminder of like, yes, we everything may not be how you want it to be right now, but look at where you are. One, you're alive and well.
Mhm.
That in itself is a daily reminder to say, yes, continue to show up for yourself, continue to be present for your child. She is a walking billboard for like, show up for yourself, show up for yourself, be present, whether that's going to therapy, going to the gym. I just bought another bike because I used to go for bike rides all the time. Like right after I left my ex, I had bought a bike. And so it was like, that was my thing. And we would go for bike rides. I got another bike recently and I was just like, oh, why stop doing this for so long? And that was a great reminder of like getting outside helps.
Okay. Yeah.
It's and I have like one of my friends paints, and so I get canvas every now and then so I can paint something and do a little something. Like I did that little picture a while ago. Um,
Nice.
Thank you. So I'm like, I just need to remember to like paint and do different activities that are again allowing me to be present in the now versus past. The anxiety comes when you're too far in the future and the stress is past. Like it's when you're looking both ways
Mhm.
behind you all around versus being present and where you are right now, that's where all the stress and anxiety comes in. So really trying to just be like take a deep breath and be like, here we are. Today
Mhm.
is whatever date it is, and I'm just going to take today as today, literally.
What areas of your life are you excited to explore, like, or get to know about yourself? Being that now
Oh,
you have the freedom and the choice to do so.
that's so interesting. I'm really interested in like my heart work right now because
Mm,
I want to eventually. We talked about dating a little bit, but it's like at some point I would love to explore dating again. So right now it's just the self-love aspect of that. Like really finding things and activities that fill myself up, whether that
yeah,
is I really want to travel again. I girl, even with that relationship, I was still traveling. Um
absolutely.
and I want to be back to doing that on a regular basis. I want to travel with my daughter. Like those are the types of things that help to pour back into me and fill my heart up. So that's the heart work is really what I'm doing right now. I'm excited to like pour more into.
Oh, I love that. And especially it's important for her to see as well.
Absolutely.
Cause one of the things that I wish that, cause I'm sure as parents, you guys subconsciously, you wanna shield your kids from a lot of life and a lot of realities of life just to kind of preserve their childhood innocence.
Hmm.
But I do feel now, as in my big threes, that I wish that I saw more of my mom as a woman and
Mm,
seeing her process through things like heartbreak or just to kind of see the through line. Because if anything, we would get if mom's having a bad day, you kind of feel that energy, of
Mhm.
course, or the misdirected attitudes or whatever. But you would only see like the pendulum swings. Like we were either very happy or very sad. We didn't get to see the process of how did you weave thread through. And I
Right.
think seeing that as a woman would help me my development as a woman.
Oh, that's good. That's good, that's good, and that's so true.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't see too much of my mom processing things in that way either. It
Mm.
wasn't until, the latter part of her life, like, after my separation, she moved with me, so it wasn't like I really got to see her all of my, like, younger years.
Yeah.
But yet my daughter has seen me process through grief because
Mhm.
in the past, and at such a young age, and I wish there was a way to shield her more from that. But it's like she has experienced loss as well. My sister and and my mom, her granny, passed in the same year, so she had to watch both of them
Mhm.
pass away, like, and go through that and process that at, like, what? She's 6 now, so she was 3.
4?
She was
3? Yeah,
4.
3.
She had just turned 4, that year, so she has had to process a lot of stuff, and I there's no way for me to shield her from that. So it was trying to walk her through that process, and even moving forward, and like stuff with her dad and not being able to like, it was she's had to process so many things, and I've had to explain things to her in her childlike way, but like so that she can understand it and I'm not exposing her to too much negative.
Yeah.
But it's still like you just have to allow her to see the ebbs and flows. Like there's stuff that I've had to process to be able to explain it to her. That's the only way that I could give her the information. So yeah, she's seen me in a lot of different spaces just because it's kind of hard to shield your child from, especially when they're your only child,
Yeah.
from like everything. Yeah.
And then also for her to not assume the responsibility that she has to take care of mom.
Right.
Like,
Right.
if you can still make it to where you explain to her she's experienced things, because of course, you're gonna have your days, you're gonna have your moments, but because even then, as girls too, because we mature faster than boys, we often assume that mother role from a very
Mhm.
young age. Like, we can identify where we feel like, "Oh, you're hurt, we need to take care of you." So some things are just instinctual, but you being diligent about talking to her and explaining things or even just letting her come to you
Yeah.
with her feelings and just being like, "Oh, well, if you wanna talk about it, like, yeah, let's talk about it."
Right.
Instead of it, like, pushing it to the side or letting her have enough alone time to try to come up with answers to these questions that she has, if as long as you remain open and, "Oh, I wanna talk about my feelings," or, "I'm having a bad day. Oh, why?" Or, "I'm remembering grandma," or, "My titi." Like,
Girl.
having these things and that's I'm sure is healing for you as well to be able to bond and, like, grieve in a healthy way together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely allowed me moments with her to really process certain things cuz grief, it ebbs and it flows, and so it the moments when it hits, you're surprised that it hits you, but it does also do the same for a child. And
Mhm.
this was like it happened one time last year. She was like and this kind of goes into the relationship with my ex's parents. She was like, "Well, not what happened to my grandma? Not my granny that passed away, my other grandma. What happened to her?"
Mhm.
And so it brought me back to the reality. She knows and understands that her granny is no longer here.
Mm.
She has processed through that and she can communicate how she feels about it. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I have to then figure out what's going on with the other grandma. That's a whole nother story. But
But
yeah,
the fact
she
that she was able to identify that and
yes,
can use her words to properly,
yes.
like, express her thoughts and feelings.
Yeah,
And
I was
in
so
even
proud.
understanding her family dynamics too, like, "Oh, I have a mom, I have a dad, this is how, the different relationship roles and titles."
Oh
To
yeah, I was
yeah.
so when she said it, I was so shocked.
"Who you been talking to?"
I was like, well, you know what? I don't know the answer to that question. How about I try to get her on the phone? Like, let me see what's going on. But
Yeah.
it let me know one, she has processed this,
Yeah.
that this all this that was like a year. Had it even been a year? No, it only been like 6 months since my mom had passed, and she asked me
Mm.
that question. So in that short time frame, she was able to communicate the understanding of like loss of one person and the missing in action of another. Like she was able to the dynamics. It was so great for me to like hear her say that, but then it just that brings about a whole nother level of grief for me that
Yeah.
I have to process, right? And being able to not in that moment not show all of the grief that I'm experiencing because of this conversation. It's just like, let me answer your question.
Yeah. Be
Let me
able
do
to
this.
separate the 2 and let her have her own experience without you, um, unintentionally projecting, like
Yeah.
or feeling like, "Oh, she's trying to replace my mom
And
because
that's
she
not the
still
case.
has a grandma left," and it's like, "No, that's not what's happening." She's just identifying, "Okay, well, how many do I have left? And where
Right.
and where they at?"
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. So that was it was a great moment for us to like have that conversation and me to like give her an answer. It was so good.
And have you identified ways that mothering her has helped heal you?
Ooh, girl, that's a good question.
I be on my Oprah sometimes. On my Iyanla Van Zant sometimes.
um, oh my God, yes. Ugh, there's so many different ways. Whew,
'Cause
I
again,
would,
she wasn't planned and you didn't have any intentions of like, "When I get older, I'm gonna be married and have a child," and here
yeah,
this blessing came at a
yeah,
pivotal time where you were closing the chapter, and then you were given this blessing,
yes,
you
and
know?
even and now, like I had no intentions of being a single mom.
Yeah.
I had no intentions. And so one of the things it helps me with like my upbringing, because I was the youngest of six, the dynamics was drastically different than the dynamics of having one child, right? And you're the oldest, so it's like you understand like it's different. And so only having one child to be able to pour into, it heals something in me to feel like, yes, I was able to get a lot of because I was the youngest. My siblings are the youngest, right above me. She was 6 years older, so it was like six, then eight, the six, then nine, then like much older. My sisters
Yeah.
now, my two sisters that are still here, they're in their 50s, like early 50s, 50 and
Okay.
51. So it's like you see 35, 50, that's
Yeah.
age gaps. I say all that to say it's having one child really allows me to see what you can do when you can focus your attention on one child versus several, and all of your resources can go into one child. I It's healing a part of me that did not see. I saw the stretch. I saw the like how much it put on my mom because she had six kids and most of that time she was single mothering. Like she was married at one point with my two of my sisters, their father. Um and so they have the same dad and they got to experience their parents being married and all of that, but that's not the experience that I had. My mom and my dad weren't married when they got together. They had me and blah blah blah. So I got to see a different dynamic. And then when she left, at one point we were homeless. Like it was just I got to see a drastically different upbringing. And so it's healing something in me that I can recognize when I need to pour into my child in a certain way. And I have attention is not divided among
Mm.
children. It's not divided among circumstances. It's just all I gotta do is focus on my one child and figure out how I can make her childhood be the best possible thing. She wants to do art, I can pour into that. She wants to do this, I can pour into that. It just it means something so different than I feel like I experienced. I didn't experience anybody pouring into my gifts fully until I was like in high school. Like I ran track, but that wasn't I mean, I ran track. That was just an extracurricular activity, right? But like I
Girl,
love
running track is something.
girl, I stopped it after no, middle school. I didn't want to do it in high school. I was like, it's too hot. We in Florida. I'm done. I'm done.
Listen, that's real, that's
I'm
real.
done. I did it for elementary and middle school. I was done after that. I don't
Yeah.
wanna do this. I did not wanna do it professionally. I was like, can I please be done?" So they agreed. But, yeah, it was just I'm a artist, I'm a creative, and that really wasn't poured into me until I was in high school when I took art and photography classes. And then I inevitably went to art school because my teacher told me that I could do that. My
Mm.
teacher was like, "Did you know you can go to school professionally for this?" I didn't know that was a possibility. But now my
Yeah.
child, this girl can draw. She is 6. She can draw. She loves to paint. She is very creative. And I can literally pour into that from right now and for
Yeah.
as long as she wants to do that. My mom, her focus was this phonics, reading these books,
Yeah.
and, like, yes, my daughter is smart too, and I pour into both. I wanna be able to pour into all aspects of her, but recognizing she has a gift in something at an
Yeah.
early age, that is the biggest thing for me, that it heals something in me to be able to, like, pour into her creative side at an early age.
Do you feel
So,
like
like,
you're also parenting your inner child with her as
girl,
well?
yeah.
Do you see that in her and her being a little girl?
Yeah, she is me. Like I see her. I see so much of myself in her as she moves about, like her mannerisms, the way she acts. I see so much of myself in her, so I know that in parenting her the way I am and not
Mhm.
being so hard on her, like I don't play, but at the same time, I'm not gonna give her no.
You give her room to grow and explore.
Yes, yes. I'm not gonna mom girl, I remember the first whooping I got from that lady. To this day, to this day, I remember my first whooping and my last whooping from that lady because of
Mhm.
how, one, I was not it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary. Like, to beat me that way, I mean, beat me.
Mm.
I'm girl, unnecessary. So it was like I don't parent that way.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's necessary to parent that way where you're just constantly um disciplined in that way. Like, you're frustrated, don't take your frustration out on your child.
Absolutely.
Don't. So I don't. I literally I have a conversation with her.
Yeah. Yeah, that shows the large gap generationally in like the child rearing roles, and then also the stresses and pressures of being a single parent and just being at your wits end, not being able to show your emotions, and plus people feeling like emotions were weakness, and do as I say, not as I do, and do because you're a child standing, all of those
Yeah.
colloquialisms,
Because I said so,
because I
like,
said so,
yes.
and your mom just being tired and overworked and having to take care of all these kids. And I'm sure if she had more, she would have had the time to like pour into you guys, but she was just in survival mode. So
Mm,
this is part of the practice that I'm working through with my therapist. I don't have children, and for a long time, up until recently, would delay the thought of being a mom because I was so afraid that I would become like my mom.
yes.
Until my therapist was like, "Well, you don't have to."
You
And for
really
something
don't.
that is so simple for her to say, for some reason that didn't become an option for me, because you just tend to model after what you
What you see.
experience or what
Yeah,
you see.
yeah.
And like my mom did her absolute best, because please, my dad wasn't around, so I remind him anytime I get that, not too much of my mom, because yes, she has her moments, but she stayed around, so not too much there, buddy, because you were
Hello.
not there. um but even in that, like, just a lot of the struggles, especially financially, and just in a lot of ways that I am a quote unquote late bloomer because of being raised by a single parent. I feel like that's where that kicked in for me, where I was delayed and stunted, quote unquote, in a lot of ways.
Uh,
Or what I'm realizing is fear. I was fearful of those areas, which is why I held myself back. And then, in addition to being a heavier girl, there's just a lot of things that society would also hold you back from experiencing
facts.
or wanting,
Or
because
shaming or like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there was just so many complexities of ways that I was held back, and just being the rule governed person, or just not wanting to cause any more strife or stress, I just accepted being pushed back or being held back in those areas. So that's where the quote unquote late bloomer comes in. So now, just like doing the work, and ultimately I want to get into like the childhood um trauma work of like honoring that inner child. Realizing, yeah, I was held back there, but I also didn't have an interest in it.
Yeah,
So I don't need to carry that. I could let that part
you
go.
can absolutely let that part go.
And then in the other areas where I felt like, no, I actually was really interested in this, but for whatever reason, being told no and then just accepting it, and realizing how that's manifested now. Like if there's a spirit of rebellion or something that's coming through and just trying to connect that with whatever memory or moment that was to then hopefully heal that or uh carry that to motivate me to like explore even more in that area and just like tap into that freedom and just be able to release that. But you know, when it comes to motherhood and all that, I'm just like I'm in this space now because you have to be careful because what you say, there's power in the tongue.
It listen,
'Cause you never know, you might find the love of your life and you trying to have children and all of a sudden fertility issues because we're in our big 3s, and
yeah.
thankfully now people have been able to have children and healthy pregnancies, but, you know, the maternal health situation here in the US is tricky, and the older you get, that just adds even more things to that. So I'm just like, if it's meant to be, it'll be, but I honestly don't feel the need to, like, push it because again, I can and I do exercise my maternal instinct and energy in a lot of different ways, and I feel like more people need to have that conversation, um, and just even knowing why. I would
Yeah.
want to be if that's something like a desire, I feel like most people just claim that because, that's the expectation, or they're just using parenting to, distract from other personal growth and development.
Mhm.
People mislabel lineage for legacy, and it's like, your children are not your legacy. That
Not
is your lineage. Your legacy is what you contribute to the world and society that will hopefully precede you once you are no
absolutely,
longer in this spiritual realm.
absolutely.
Hopefully for the better and not to the
Hopefully.
detriment of society. But you know, we're working through that, you know, but
Absolutely.
I love seeing more and more conversations and of black women just really exploring and having more fun. And as millennials, like we're the ones that are holding on to every ounce of our childhood. We will not let it die.
I won't. I
And I
won't.
will not.
I
I enjoy
absolutely
my
not.
cartoons. I
Listen,
enjoy being silly, and I love nostalgia, and I listen to 90s R&B, and I remember music videos and learning the dance moves. Like, I will hold on to that.
you cannot take any of that away from me. I am still like a nerd. I still watch Star Wars. I still go back and watch the original like Harry Potters. Like there's so much about
Mhm.
like old things that just bring so much warmth to me. And also, there was so much pressure on us to grow up
Mhm.
that now that we're grown, it's like, this is what we rush to? These raggedy bills? Like, yes, I'm going to hold on to my childhood as much as I can. And I'm trying to get my daughter to, girl, I promise you, you don't want to be over in these streets. You don't want to be in these adulthood streets. I promise you, stay a child as long as possible because I was in such a rush.
Mhm.
And even
Free
having kids,
yeah.
even having like I told you, I that wasn't like a part of what I wanted, but and I feel like when you're talking about did I want it or like it's not necessarily something that I wanted. And I feel as though the fear aspect of it was it's like did that come to pass? Did I speak it up to where now being a single mother is never what I wanted to or thought that I would walk into that. I got married. I was with somebody for way too long, and I realized that in itself can be a sign to not move forward. But we live and we learn, right?
Yeah.
But it's like I never wanted to end up being a single mom, so that was part of the fear. I was raised by a single mom. I
Mhm.
didn't want to have that same outcome, and that ended up being part of the story anyway. So when I tell people, I'm like, yes, my friends that are around my age, I'm like, girl, I understand the desire and wants. Make sure that the desire to have kids is not for other people
Mhm.
because oh they're putting pressure on you and they feel like you need to check that box because they have are they happy in the lives that they're living? Anybody that is pressuring you to do something like have kids or get married or this that are they happy in the decisions that they made. And if that can be a genuine yes, then hear what they have to say. But don't take that as word, like that's what you need to do. Like that's don't rush
Yeah.
at all. At all.
And now's the time for, and I love the conversation of people, especially Black women, saying, "I don't want that," and
Yeah.
not feeling ashamed for it. Like people standing firm in their decision, like that is not for me.
Yeah.
And
And
I
it
think
doesn't
when people do that, if and then they ultimately, for whatever reason, because life happens and you end up becoming a parent, I feel like sometimes they become better parents because
Mhm.
they had that honesty and they were very truthful. So that now that they've now come into this responsibility, they're gonna be like, they're boots on the ground, honey. Well, we're
Yes,
here, and I made the decision to move forward with this chapter. I'm gonna do the best that I can and be
absolutely.
responsible about it, or I'm gonna do it in a healthy way then.
Yes. And it doesn't mean that you are a late bloomer if you decide to have that you have a child later in life. My mom had me at 39. So
Yeah.
there's that. It's not late if it happens later in life,
Mhm.
and it's in the timing that it was supposed to be in. If that is what you if that's what you desire. It's
Yeah.
wholeheartedly believe that um it is so important for us to stay firm in our decision. Like what do you actually want?
Yeah.
What do you if I listen, I will stand firm, and like I know now that I would love to move forward with my child and just take care of her and be in such a positive space. If at some point it changes and I get married, and then that's going to be another positive point in my life. That's it.
Any late bloomers who are listening to this episode, what is one big takeaway given like some of the reflections that we've had during this conversation that you would want to offer them?
Mm. Uh,
Whether they're in the stage of life of becoming a mom and didn't
yeah.
plan for it or felt um delayed in other areas or interests because they had to assume responsibilities or a relationship also
Yes.
halted certain things, like what is the biggest takeaway that you would want to offer to someone?
I would say, especially if you're a mom or you're thinking about becoming a mom, at any stage, especially if you're like in your 30s and you're trying to be like, am I? Should I? Whatever time frame is your time frame. Don't allow anybody around you to pressure you to make you feel like you need to be on their time frame.
Mm,
As women, we get pressured, and all the projections happen, and they come in and they try to project their thought process and their life choices onto you. So don't allow what they want, their desires for you to be yours, because it doesn't have to be. Um, Also, if you are in a relationship and you have given up parts of yourself and you are restarting and you're going back to school, or you're trying to figure out like just restarting your life, period. um don't feel like again that you are missing something, that you have taken so much time away from getting to your purpose and getting to what you desire. People restart at every age,
mhm,
literally at every age. I want to go back to school to become a therapist. I'm going to do it. I, at some point, that does not mean that I am taking too long, that I have neglected time, and time is going to get away from me. If it is supposed to be done, it will be done. And just remember to stay true to yourself in the process of becoming that next version of you, whatever time frame that is. You are not late. Um you're not taking too long. Like none of that is it's your journey. Everybody's journey is an individual journey, and it should not be, or you should not feel like the comparison that you see all
mhm,
these people around you that have seemingly more than you, or they have accomplished something that you're trying to accomplish, but you don't know the process that is taken for them to get there. You don't know what circumstances that they have gone through or have not gone through to get there. And for you, look at the journey that you have gone through that has put steps in front of you, that has put doors in front of you, and you had to find another avenue. You've had to pivot. Look at how many times you've pivoted and you're still on the journey. You're still on the process. You never give up. You never quit. You just keep going. And that essentially means you're never late. You're never late.
Well, on that note, Miss Jasmine, because this black girl clearly spoke up, honey. And she dropped the mic. I hope that y'all picked up all of those gems. So where can the Bloomies follow you?
You can follow me if you want to watch my podcast that is on YouTube and Spotify. You can watch the visual version of it, or you can listen to it on Spotify. That's Black Girl Speak Up. If you want to follow me on Instagram, that is also Black Girl Speak Up as well. And my personal page is Jasmine Aeanna, which is Aeanna is my middle name. So you can follow me there as well. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome, awesome. And all of the links to Miss Jasmine and Black Girl Speak Up will be in the description of this episode. Thank you so much for chatting with me, girl.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing.
This
I
was
can't wait for you to be on my
awesome.
podcast. I can't wait.
Hey, you here, we out here, we out here. All right, next time, Bloomies. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Blooming Lately podcast. All of your listens and all of your support is much appreciated, and I definitely feel the love. Please do follow me on Instagram at Blooming Lately Pod. And again, you can check out the description of this episode and all episodes to get access to the links so you can support and follow any guests that I have on as well. And while you're at it, just leave a little comment, rate the episode, keep the love flowing. Let's keep these blooms blooming. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.